Hello, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you're joining in from. You're welcome to Shexel Live. I believe that you're all having a productive week. Today is Tuesday. It's exactly 6 p.m. GMT, and today we have something amazing to come your way. All right, so today I'm going to be moving very fast because time is not on our side. We have a customization that we're going to be doing for a user who connected with me all the way from Malaysia, and he wants us to customize, the HSE Performance Monitoring Tool to their own set of KPIs. All right, so without wasting time, I'm just going to share my screen right away, so that we have a context to what exactly he's trying to achieve. Right, so basically he has seen our HSE Performance Monitoring Tool, and you want to do, something similar. Right, so he has a set of requirements, which are the leading and the lagging indicators. So we are looking at safety observation reporting. You're looking at HSE training man hours. You're looking at management walkabout, toolbox stock. We are looking at emergency drills and exercises, near misses, safety campaigns, safety walkabout, and other KPIs. And then lagging indicators. We have these set of lagging indicators, right? So that is exactly what we're going to be doing. But let me just share my screen right away so that we put a context again to exactly what you want us to do. Okay. All right, so let's try and take a deep dive into this very KPIs, right? This is a KPI metrics, right? So we are looking to improve monitor health and safety performance, and we have these leading and lagging indicators with their target. Okay, so obviously when it comes to the lagging indicators, the targets are always 0. Because nobody wants to record fatality, lost time, injury, restore case, right? All of this stuff is always 0. And then when it comes to the leading indicators, you're looking at all the important stuff that are relevant for improving workplace safety performance or prevent workplace accidents, right? So when it comes to safety observation reporting, he's saying that every 1 hour, 1.25 hours, they have to be making some observation reporting, right? HSE training man hours, it has to be 2 hours every week. HSE management walkabout, it is bi-monthly, which is every 2 months. Toolbox stock is daily. HSE committee meeting is monthly. So when we are gonna when we are setting targets and we are trying to track these targets, we need to convert them into numerical values. So if you are saying that toolbox stock is daily, we are setting target for the year, right? So that will mean that we have 365 targets for toolbox stock because it's daily. HSE committee meetings is monthly. So what it means is that we're going to do that every single month for the year. So what will be the target? The target is going to be 12 months in the year. So we are literally, we have already understood the context of it, and we've converted all of them into numerical value. So that is why it fits into our HSE Performance Monitoring Tool in terms of quantitative data analysis, right? HSE campaign is bi-monthly, so it's twice every. It's done once every 2 months. So in a year, it's going to be 6. So we are building the template, and the user already understands how he's going to be inputting those numbers in there. So without wasting time, I'll quickly head over to the template that we're going to be using. All right, so I'll just I'll just minimize this. Okay, so I have this minimized. I'm gonna send this right onto my screen. Okay, so we are going to look at this very template. All right, so now this template is very, very wide in scope, but it's equally very simple to use. It's equally very simple to use, right? So we are going to do a few things. Now let's put context into exactly what we are coming to do. Now, when it comes to objectives and targets, this is how our template has been structured. Target source data. We also have a target source data where we'll be building a database of the target that we'll be setting. Okay, and then we also have an actual database. This is why we'll be inputting data every month. We have a monthly report. which is generated automatically. So we're going to be making some changes here as well. We're going to stick to HSE statistics. We want to make sure that he has statistics. We're going to give him a trend dashboard. We're going to give him a target dashboard, okay? And then we're going to give him an incident dashboard for the lagging indicators. So just 3 dashboards, and we're going to give him objectives and targets also, all right? Now, this is something that I may probably explain later on, but without wasting time, let's get right into the work. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is that once I have this template, there's password always here, right? So with the password, all I need to do is unprotect the worksheet, right? Unprotecting worksheet allows you to have access to all the elements within the sheet. Okay, so I just come to, now if I want to unprotect sheet, all I need to do is come to the review tab. There are instances where you could just right click and then you click on unprotect sheet. That is, one of the methods, but just come to the review tab so that you can understand the both options, the options that are there. There's unprotect sheet, there's protect workbook. So just click on unprotect sheet. The password is right down below, so we already know it. You would have by then, checked it, or copied it onto a sheet. So you check CLP empty MV, right? Once I have unprotected the sheet, what I'm going to do next is that I will just, I'll start to unprotect all the other sheet that I'm going to be changing, right? So I'll unprotect this sheet. If you want to unprotect sheet, you need to make sure that you are actually on the sheet that you want to make changes on. So I'm going to enter all the password in here. So we're going to make all of these changes. I'm going to be making changes to the target dashboard, source data, the actual source data as well, the monthly reports, the trend dashboard. We're going to make changes to it. And I think that these are the only protected sheets within the workbook. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to unprotect the workbook because there are some hidden sheets that we need to be aware of. All right. Okay, so now let's take note that these are the set of KPIs that the person has requested for, right? So we have the leading indicators, we have the lagging indicators. So when it comes to, oops, I hope I'm sharing my screen. How do I do that? Oh man. Baby, you know how? Okay, I'll just try and do that again because it looks like I'm trying to share my screen and it's not displaying what I want to display. Okay, so we are back again. All right, so perfect. So basically we know all the things that we're going to be, tracking. So it was just for your info. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is that we've agreed on the things that are relevant and the things that are not relevant. Okay, so what I'm going to do is that I'll get started by deleting the things that he doesn't need. Okay, we are trying to keep this template very simple, so he does not need the environmental indicators. Okay, so I'll just delete this. Okay. All right. So this is out of the way. We don't need the road traffic indicators. So that is out of the way. And then we need to get rid of some of these entries. Okay. So based on these, set of KPIs, usually when it comes to customization, we tend to follow a particular structure. Okay. There is something we call replacement in kind in when it comes to changes, right? In order to avoid any significant structural changes to the template, we always recommend a replacement in kind. A replacement in kind in the sense that if you want to replace any KPI, it has to be exactly the same type of KPI. Toolbox stock must be toolbox stock because it is all structured. So you can change some of the terminologies to suit your own set of terminologies at your workplace, and that is what we will call the replacement in kind. In that sense, there's no major, it doesn't take a lot to customize because we are only changing, bits and pieces of some of the KPIs to, it fits the same context, but we are only changing the names. But this request today is not about replacement in kind. We are actually coming to change a lot of things. Okay, so we're going to delete some of these entries right here. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly go back and start to delete other sections that we don't need. Okay, All right, so according to the requirement that we have, he doesn't need disciplinary action. In fact, there are a total of about 13 KPIs. So let me just count a total of 13. And that's 11, and I have my 12, 13, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete all of these ones. Okay. And then when it comes to the lagging indicators, let's have a look. Fatality, lost time, injury. So what I'll do is that I want to be very, very careful not to tamper with any sheet. So I'll just create another sheet so that I'll transfer some of these KPIs in there. So for the lagging indicators, we have these ones. I'll just copy everything, Control C. I come over here and then I paste it here, right? I'll paste as it will match destination formatting. So at least I can see, right? And then I'll come to the leading indicators. So I'll head over to the sheet again, and then I'll just paste it on the side because I want to make sure that it's exactly what we are trying to capture. Okay, so basically when it comes to the fatalities, he has it as fatal accident. We have it as fatal accident, but he want to call it fatality. So I'll just quickly change that. I could paste all of them there, but I just want to be careful. There are some of the terminologies that are literally the same, and the formatting within those charts, I want to keep them and use them without having to waste too much time. Okay, so restricted lost time injury is the same thing as hours, right? Perfect. Okay, so lost time injury is the same as hours. So I'll just continue, copy this. I'll come in here and I'll just try to, paste and transpose. Paste and transpose, right? So I have it right in there. Okay, let me try to insert additional columns. I don't want to tamper with some of the entries. Okay. I click on the paint brush to maintain the same formatting. Then I can carefully get rid of these ones. This one, restricted work case. It doesn't have restricted work case in his. There's no restricted work case. So I'll get rid of this. And I'll get rid of property damage and near miss and total recordable case. It doesn't want total recordable case. So we've introduced the set of KPIs, but take note that we try to not change lost time injury and fatality because on the dashboard, it's not going to change. So we are going to pick that formatting of the dashboard and use it to apply to all of these. If I change everything, then I'll probably have to start from scratch trying to replicate the dashboard in terms of the color. So I'm going to retain the color with this one. The same thing applies to the leading indicators. On some of the dashboard, we don't want to go back to square zero. So we want to make sure we keep the same formatting. Now I'll come to the leading indicators, right? Now leading indicator, take note, toolbox stock is similar to ours. So I'll just take note of toolbox stock. So I'll try to delete these ones, right? So toolbox stock is the one in front. So I'll just continue, paste and transpose. So that's right there. Then I'll come to the other ones also. I'll paste and transpose. Now I can delete all these ones because we don't need them. Okay, so how many leading indicators? There are 10 leading indicators. Okay, there are actually 11. So there is unsafe act condition which we did not capture, but let me just bring it back because I want to make sure we don't miss them. So we have the toolbox.hsc, toolbox.hsc. So these other ones I didn't capture them. Okay, so I can paste them here. All right, so I'll pick this formatting because I don't want to miss it. I'll just drag it all the way on it. and then everything is back, right? So we don't need these ones. Okay, so we have carefully, corrected the templates by making sure that, okay, wait. I hope I've not missed anything. Toolbox stock, let me bring it up here. Let's get rid of the entry here. Okay, I'll do it like this. There are 11 in all. 11 in all. That's fine. Let me just confirm with the list of KPIs. How many are they? Okay. That's it. So just 11 KPIs. So we are back, right? Okay. So I can delete this very sheet because it's no more relevant. Okay, let me keep it. All right. So we have introduced those set of KPIs. I want to maintain the same formatting. All right. So the good thing is that we have dummy data already. So we don't have to struggle to get dummy data. Now the man hour section is just by default, right? So the man hours is already captured. But let me see if we are supposed to capture. Okay, there's no need to introduce any other man hours because everything is here already. So I'm maintaining the structure of this template. Okay. All right. So once we have done this changes, we need to do the same thing for the target source data, right? So I'll just copy everything here. Control C, go to the target source data. So this is the lagging indicators. So I'll just come here and then I'll paste it right here. I can get rid of these other ones because it doesn't need it. I want to maintain the same formatting. So I'll just use a paintbrush. I double click on this and then I have the same formatting, right? So I'm going to focus on the leading indicators. But we want to make sure that we are not tampering with toolbox stock because I want to make sure that we are sticking to that, that's the format in the chart. So I'll just continue with this one. And then I'll paste right here. All right. So once I've gotten, I've introduced this set of KPIs, I can comfortably delete all these other ones. Okay, so regarding the lagging indicators, fatalities in there. Stop. Okay. All right, so perfect. So now we've been able to, do that. So we just, wait. Okay, so we have the lagging indicators. No. The lagging indicators here. And then we have the leading indicators here. So I'll just merge these cells. And then we can just call it leading indicators, right? And this section is going to be lagging indicators. All right, so now we've been able to set up the template such that it's easy to build a database. Now take note that with a table like this, you can build a continuous database. So what a person is seeking to do is that every month they will select their company, they will provide a date, the average number of workers in the month, the working days in the month, and that will estimate the man days worked, the man hours worked. Any lost time injury will be registered in here, and then man hours lost from LTI and man hours without LTI. So you're going to be building a long, continuous database for as long as you want. So now we've been able to, introduce the KPI as was required. So I can comfortably, okay, I wouldn't want to delete that. Okay, so now let's see what happens if I come to any of the dashboards or any of the reports and I refresh the workbook. All right, so once I refresh the workbook, this is what happens. All the errors are going to pop up except the ones that I didn't change. I said I wanted to retain the name for toolbox stock, but all the other ones can change. So basically that's what happened, right? So I'm going to try to, get rid of, change the structure of this table because it doesn't fit the structure. There's no replacement in kind. So we are coming to now enter those set of KPIs. Now take note that we have the leading indicators right in here, right? So I'll just copy the same thing and paste there, or I'll just go back and use this one. Okay, so let's just use this one. That's the reason why I decided to keep this. So objectives and targets, I'll just paste from the one below, right? I just paste. Okay, so these are the set of KPIs, and I can comfortably delete these ones. So I'll unmerge and then I'll delete all these ones. Okay, all right. So I'm going to do the same thing for the lagging indicators also. Okay, so we've changed the structure of this table. Now there has to be an objective, and these are the KPIs, the leading indicators. So we need to get a good name for it, right? So if you have toolbox stock, observation tracking, let's just say improving HSE performance. That's the objective. Want to improve HSE performance using these set of leading and lagging indicators. And this section will still remain as protect life, property, and environment. Okay, so we can just bring the border. We use this border to to design this very table. Okay, okay, and same for this as well. So we may not need lost time injury. Okay, we may need lost time injury incident. We may need that. We may not need motor vehicle incident rate because we probably are not tracking that. I'll check that out. Yes, we are not tracking motor vehicle because there's no incident on motor vehicle, right? So now we have introduced a set of KPIs. Now let's try to clean it up a bit. Okay, so we're going to do something later on. Okay, so we were able to retain the formatting for this. Okay, Now take note that once you have gotten rid of all these KPI, everything is messed up. All of these stuff are messed up. So the gentleman doesn't want anything related to environment. So we get rid of the environment. And then we will try to bring some of those KPIs in there. Let me see if I could do that really, really quick. So 3. So we put a 3 here. And then the other 3 will also go the other side. And then we have another 3 also. So we have literally exhausted the entries there, but we could insert additional row to accommodate the other ones also. So we have 2 more to go, right? Okay, so if you want to maintain the format of any item in here, you just double click on the item, use a paintbrush, and then you can select anything that you want to retain the format, right? So we've done that right now. I just want to make sure that all of these cells are merged because we need to keep it consistent. Okay, so now we have the leading indicators in here. It's left for the lagging indicators. Sorry, the leading indicators. So I'll just take my time. How many are there in each column? There's a total of 11 KPI. So we could do 4, 4, 3, right? 4, 4, 3. So can comfortably get rid of these entries as well. So I'll just delete these rows. Okay, so I'll pick 4. And I paste the 4 here. And then I pick the next 4. I paste it here. And then I'll pick the last 3. Okay. Oops. I think I put it on the wrong place here. All right. So we can delete this one. And then we can retain the format. So we just click on the paintbrush on any of the entries that we want to pick the format, and then we paste it on these ones. Okay. So we've designed the structure of the monthly report. So everything, all we need to do is just pick the values and bring them here. So we've done that. Okay. The HSE statistics. Now this gets us into pivot table. We need to now start doing the pivot table. All right, the template is built on pivot table. So in order for these, the KPIs to show here, we need to click on it. We can right click and go to show field list. And then the pivot table opens. So all the new KPIs that we introduced, right, except the ones that we did not want to tamper because the names are the same. You see they are still checked, right? So we're going to take our time and select. Right, so restricted work case, medical treatment case, first aid cases, property damage, environmental spill. Environmental spill is part. All right, environmental spill is part here. So whatever is in the database is what gets shown on in the pivot table field list. Okay, so we just keep on going. All right, and then fatality as well, and then we continue with the leading indicators. But we need to make sure that we are maintaining the arrangement of the items within the pivot table field list, right? Because the values must be on this section, and then the leading indicators or the KPIs should be on this section, and the values should be sum of. Sometimes when you select, it moves to other sections and it will distort the way the table has been structured. Okay, so I'll just keep on going like this. Okay, so we just have to pick these other ones, but we need to drag it and paste them here, right? We need to do the same thing, and then I continue. Anything that moves to any wrong position, we need to fix it. Same with this one, and then we continue with this. Okay, so the man hours in here is showing 3. It shouldn't be 3. How many man hours are in here that is telling us 3? how many? Okay, this one we need to correct it. HSE management. HSE training. We have two HSE training entries. HSE training. Okay, let me see what I would do, because I could have just pasted everything. Let's remove this ones. Okay, so we have toolbox stock. Toolbox stock is there. Training man hours, committee, tier 1, emergency drill, near miss, HSE campaign, HS walkabout, HS recognition. Okay. All right, so that means I repeated some of them. Okay, so I'll just get rid of these entries. So, all right, so I've gotten rid of them. Let me just check to make sure that they're not duplicated here as well. Okay, it's not the same. All right, so we are back on track. So once I refresh the workbook, you notice that we have literally selected all the KPIs that we are supposed to track. Okay, now we need to make sure that they are all showing as sum of, not count of. We are trying to sum the number of entries, the entries that we're going to be putting in those columns. So we want to make sure that they are all showing as sum of, which means that everything that you enter in those columns, pivot table should sum them up and not count. Count is to count the unique entry, basically the fact that it has registered in a column. So you just want to count how many times it has shown in the column, but sum of is actually giving us, you know, the sum of the entries. All right, so refresh all. Unsafe act condition. Okay, so we have another sheet in here that is hidden. So there are some hidden sheets that we want to be careful not to tamper with them. Okay, so those are the calculations. We are supposed to get rid of unsafe act condition because it's not part of the KPIs. Okay, now we're gonna be correcting some things in here. These are where the calculations are, and this very section, we don't want to tamper with them. We are not tracking total recordable case, so that's how we are getting error, but we want to make sure that we delete the one that are not relevant. So for now, we cannot tell which one is the error, but I can tell that it's this one. But for you, you may not know which one has the error, which is the which requires that we fix. But there are some that are because we don't have the KPIs for them. Because of that, we can know that TRC is not in our database, it's not in our Excel table, so we can delete straight away. Okay, so I can just go ahead and delete because we know that there's no TRC in there. All right, so let's go back to make sure that we are getting rid of the things that we don't need. Okay, so we basically will need this target dashboard. Remember that I said I'm going to retain one of them so that I can pick the format. This is exactly what I'm trying to do. I don't want to start from scratch. Incident dashboard, I retain this one, so I'm going to pick the format when I'm, you know, populating the rest. Incident rate. Okay, let's see if I'll probably want to keep incident rate. So let me delete control of work because there's nothing, we don't have a set of KPIs for control of work. If we are tracking control of work, that means we have about 5 KPIs and those are relevant to put on a dashboard. We only have toolbox stock and one KPI cannot go on a dashboard. Okay, so we can equally no issues, we will fix anything that crops up. Okay, so I'll just delete all the dashboard that we don't need. Okay, we may need man hours, kilometers traveled. We are not tracking anything related to road transport, so I'll delete that. We would be tracking lagging indicators, leading indicators, induction. We are not tracking induction. There's no induction in there, but I'm going to, reserve 1, 2, 3. How many KPIs are there? I think there are 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we have our 11 KPIs. So I'll just delete these ones. If I want to delete, I could just click on, select a number of them, and then I'll delete. Okay. We don't need incident rates. We don't need motor vehicle incident rates. We don't need a trend for motor vehicle incidents. Don't need this one. Okay, so we have report for toolbox stock. We saw the toolbox stock. Okay, that's good. All right, so now we have our template, structured for the user. We've already built the structure of the template. We've already started populating some of the entries for, incidents, the statistics, and we're going to make sure that we are fixing all of these, errors that we are seeing on the dashboard. So I'm going to start off from the objectives and targets. Okay. Now, if you want to know where, the reference cells are coming from, because these are reference cells, right? These are reference cells that are referencing other cells somewhere. So all of these cells are reference cells. I want to identify where is the figures coming from. Where are they coming from? So when we click on the cell, we go to the formula bar, right? The formula bar is up there. There's the formula bar. We can see that, okay, we are talking about sum of toolbox stock. Remember, pivot table is always summing them up. That's what we selected, sum of toolbox stock. But where is it coming from? It's coming from the target KPIs. Now the target KPI is a hidden sheet. So we just go right click and we unhide and we select target KPIs, right? Because we created that table specifically for the targets. So that is the sheet, target KPI. So this is how it looks. Remember, we've gotten rid of all those entries, right? So we're coming to pick the targets of the leading and lagging indicators. So I'll just start selecting. All right, so all the KPIs have been selected. Okay, so if I come to objectives and target sheet, all I need to do is just hit the equal sign, and then I go to the target KPI. What's the KPI? What was it about? Safety observation, right? So I just look for safety observation. That's right there. I select, I hit enter, I hit the equal sign. Okay, I want to make sure that I know that, okay, this HSE training man hours, right? Equal sign, HSE training man hours. That's right there. Oops, what was there before? HSE management walkabout. HSE management walkabout. HSE committee. HSE committee. Tier 1 HSE audit. Tier 1 HSE audit. Emergency drill. Emergency drill. Near miss. HSE campaign. HSE walkabout. And then HSE reward and recognition. All right, so we fix the target. We want to go straight to the target for the lag indicators. Fatality. Was it fatality? All right. Lost time injury. Restricted work case. Restricted work case. Restricted work case. Restricted. medical treatment target. Okay, so usually this customization, it takes a lot of man hours, but I'm trying to do this within the time frame. Maybe we can complete it, maybe we may not be able to complete it. All depends on how fast we're able to move. Yeah, but this is just for us to see how we do these customizations. And usually we can use like maybe 1 working day, 2 working days to do this, because we have other things we do. Property damage, environmental spill. So this actually takes a lot of time. Building this template, it took some time for us to get to a point where it looks very, very cool for users, because every time we are coming out with new updates and new upgrades and all of that. So we actually took time to build it. It wasn't just one time work that we did. Target regulatory non-compliance. Okay, so basically, if you want to cross-check to make sure that you're selecting the right KPI, make sure that you're seeing the sum of fatality. That's relate to this, right? So this one is lost time, restorer case, medical treatment case, first aid case, property damage, environmental spill, fire, security. So these entries are matching exactly what is here. All right. So we now do that for the target. Okay. Sorry, the actual. Now the actual also the same thing. When we click on it, we go to the formula bar, we will see that there is indicators for objectives, right? So we unhide the worksheet, right? Indicators for objectives. And the same thing, we need to select all the KPIs, all right? So we select all of them from the pivot field list. Now take note, some of them are quite new, so they're gonna distort the structure of the pivot table. So we want to quickly pick it and position it properly and ensure that it is sum of, not count of. It has to be sum of. So in order to change it to count, sum of, just right click on it, go to field setting, and then click on sum of. Okay, so just continue. This one also came here. We drag it back and then we change it to sum of. Same with this, because these are new entries. All right, so we continue. We keep selecting all of them, and we must make sure they are all in there as, oops, no, not yet. All right, so we've literally selected the relevant ones. Okay, so we go back to this, and we are now doing it for actual. Unsafe act condition, no? HSE training hours, HSE training hours. Oh. HSE management walkabout. HSE committee. Tier 1 HSE audit. Emergency drill. Near miss. HSE campaign. HSE walk about. HSE reward. Okay, and then we do that for this one as well. The targets for the lagging indicators. So the other one was what? Fatality. Lost time injury. History work case. Medical treatment. First aid case. Just suppose first aid case. Property damage. Environmental spill. Fire. Security incident. Okay. Zero rule violation, huh? Regulatory non-conformance. All right, so for regulatory non-conformance and all that, we don't have data for them, right? These are the entries. We could just put in some data, some dummy data. Dummy data is always important. Okay, so once we refresh all, now we need to do same for targets. Give you some dummy data. Okay, I think there's data for it already, right? Lagging indicators. Okay, fair enough. Lagging indicators, most of the times we want to keep it 0, right? Okay, so that's it. There we fixed the objectives and targets, but we want to gather some more data. I mean, once we progress, we're going to fix the lost time injury frequency rate. Total recordable case, I think I deleted it. Perhaps it's needed, but we'll see if we can bring it back, right? Because I deleted it. Okay, so basically we've been able to fix the objectives and targets, and we can hide these ones. We can hide these ones because we've finished with it. Now we go on to, we can delete these ones because we don't need them. Now we need to fix this one also. We need to unhide. Now, how do we know what sheet is relevant, right? We click on the reference cell, #ref error. We notice that, okay, it's coming from the month report indicators. The KPI is fatality, right? We change the name to fatality instead of fatal accident. We change the name. That's why we're having all these #ref errors. So we just right-click the sheet, or we right-click the tab, and then we open month reports indicators. We unhide it. So we notice that all the KPIs had vanished, right? So we need to bring them back. So these are the new entries we've introduced into the workbook. So we just have to select everything, making sure that they are all showing a sum of, not count of. And it has to be the right section of the pivot table. Okay, so that's it, we are done. Okay. All right, so perfect. So now we go on to the monthly reports, and then we go to fatality. We hit the equal sign. We come to the report indicators. We find where the fatality is. This one is a fatality. We select, we hit OK. I mean, equal sign and everything. We do the same thing for lost time injury. Restricted work case. Zero to rule violation. And then we move on to this. So these are probably the manual entry that you're going to be seeing, but the rest are going to be very fast. Okay. Medical treatment. First aid case. Property damage. Regulatory non-compliance or non-conformance. And then we continue to environmental spill. We continue to fire incident, and then security, right? Okay. And then we continue to the leading indicators, toolbox stock. Safety observation report. HSE training man hours. HSE management walkabout. Oops. HSE committee meeting. Tier 1 HSE audit. Emergency drill. Near miss. HSE campaign. HSE walkabout. HSE recognition. All right, so we've literally fixed the monthly report. Now, one thing about the monthly report is that once you populate your database, everything populates by default. All right, so that's basically it. It's all coming from the data, the actual source data, right? This section used to be for observation participation. So I need to get rid of it because I need to change this back to numbers. Okay, so we have fixed the dashboard. We fixed the statistics. So I'll just hide this. Now the next thing we're gonna do is to fix now with the statistics. Oftentimes you want to make sure that the incidents are at the top, right? So that's how it was before. The incidents were at the top and these ones were rather down below. So let me try to bring them down, right? I'll just bring them down. So some of these ones should come down. So we have fatality, fire incidents, all of these at the top. Then we have lost time must go up. And then that's it. So this one we can just keep the color like how we've been doing it, right? Want to keep it red, and then white, and then man hour is gonna be gray, and this section is gonna be, blue or whatever, violet or blue. So this is the statistics, and take note that the statistics you can always filter whichever month, or you can select all, and depending on the parameters that you have in the database, like the sites or companies, you can filter from here. If you have multiple years, right, as you build the database, you can have multiple timelines showing multiple years, showing the timeline. You can select any of them, right? So now let's fix the trend dashboard. Now take note that the trend dashboard are basically the pivot tables that we actually created within the template. So let's go back and fix all the pivot tables. Then all the charts that we use for the dashboard, they will start to populate. Okay, so I come here, you're looking at the lagging indicators. So just start, right? Restricted work case, medical, first aid, property, environmental spill, first aid, security, zero, violation, regulatory, non-conformance, and fatality, right? So we have the dashboard. If you go back to the trend dashboard, you notice that it has started populating, right? And then we go to the leading indicators. Also, we select all the leading indicators that are relevant to show on the dashboard. So we have the toolbox stock already selected. So we just continue. Safety observation reporting, HSE training man hours, HS committee, emergency drill, near miss, HSE campaign. All right, so we selected them, right? There were just about 11 of them. Okay, so all we will do is that we just format the data series, go to basically the 3D, right? We can try to make it look nicer. Okay, so this is probably how you probably want it. Okay, we could change the colors if you want. You can always change the colors, right? It's all up to you. So when we go back to the trend dashboard, you notice that this has also populated. Now, that's not all. Of course, we need to change the format of this. So we can right click on the chart, we go to the fill, and we choose a gradient fill. Okay. I was trying to, okay, so with this one, I think we don't have any options. So let's just try to do it manually, right? I was looking for a way of just copying a formatting on one chart and paste it over it to replicate it, but we need to go the hard way. So we have the gradient fill. So I'll just choose, the one that I like, right? I think it was there as probably gray or something, and then maybe gray and black, if I remember. No, it wasn't gray and black, maybe gray and something. So that's the whole point when I said I probably have to keep some of the formatting so that I could copy and use it, right? So I can't remember what the formatting was, probably or something like this, right? I think it was something like this. So we can just change the direction or the angle of the gradient to this. Okay, but we can make it much brighter. If I have a proper color, I could pick color from the internet. Yeah, there's a lot of color gradient that we can use. Let me just use this one and go to this one. Maybe I could just choose something that is much brighter. Okay. All right, so when it comes to the aesthetics of the dashboard, I mean, it's a lot of try and error and all of that. Just choose whatever you think is nicer to you. Okay, so it's a matter of choice, but all of these things we need to usually try to take our time to come up with something that is really, really nice. But it doesn't mean that, I mean, we can do something nice. Okay, for now, we don't want to waste time trying to come up with a color that is unique. Let's just try to keep it simple for now. Okay, so let me just keep it simple. Okay, let's go back to how it was before. I think that this is not bad. All right, so I'll just change the color to the font color to white. Okay, so what I'll do is that I'll just copy this, Control C, Control V. Then I have this also. Okay, so that's basically what we're trying to do, but we are not done. We need to make sure that the trend lines are all showing. Okay, these lines should all be showing. All right, so these lines should all be showing. Okay, so basically to do that, we need to bear in mind that there's another sheet that we need to pick from the template, and that is the KPI trend. So over here, that's the KPI trend, and you will notice that we have only one KPI. So we need to open the pivot table field list. Okay, and then we start to select. All right, so once the field list is open, we can select all the KPIs that we want to see in the trend chart, right? So we select all of these ones and they all start to populate. And these are basically the leading indicators. Okay, so if I come to the trend dashboard, you notice that we can now select from the drop down. So we have this, and we have this as well. So we've been able to fix the dashboard. Take note, the colors is a matter of choice. You can change the colors, but now we don't want to waste bother ourselves with the colors, right? So we can hide this because we fixed the trend dashboard. Okay, so the trend dashboard is fixed. It's left for the target dashboard. Now the target dashboard is already populating data. The colors are all is because it's picking the data from here, but the KPIs are not correct. So we need to go back and make sure that everything is correct. Now to do that, we need to go back to the actual source data. We want to make sure that the targets that are in here are exactly what is on the, that are in the source data. Now, one interesting thing with this is that because we have target source data and actual source data, unfortunately, with this current, Excel feature, you cannot, as far as Microsoft is concerned, you cannot combine two pivot. You cannot combine pivot tables that are coming from separate source data, unless if you are using you're doing Power BI and you're using DAX function to pick, KPIs from various tables. But when it comes to Microsoft Excel, you cannot do that unless you probably go further using Power Query and things like that, right? But for now, we're only sticking to pivot tables without any Power Query. Okay. So what we are going to do is that what we did was that all the target that we set, the target source data for the leading indicators, we brought them here as well. Okay, so basically we are looking at the toolbox stock, the target of the toolbox stock. That's right in there. The next, so I'll just go here and make sure I pick all the rest of the KPIs. I'll change them to targets. So I come to actual source data after toolbox stock, which we know it hasn't been affected. I'll just transpose this here, and then I would, retain the formatting by just clicking on the paint brush, and then I can delete these ones because these are KPIs we don't need, right? Then I'll take my time to, provide the target. So this is target of safety observation. Okay, so what I need to do next is that I just have to make sure that target of induction, I think we don't need induction. We don't need induction. I can delete this one, right? So just make sure that the toolbox stock is exactly what it is. I just pick it here. Target of the toolbox stock is exactly what it is, but I need to make sure that I'm picking the first cell because it's a merge cell, and if I don't exclude the last cell, it's not going to populate. So target of safety observation reporting, I click on it. I make sure I get rid of the last range of the cell. I hit on this one as well. Oops, I've repeated. I go to training man hours. Training man hours, right? I go to management review, management walkabout. HSE committee. HSE TA. Pencil draw. Oops, wait. Target of near miss. And then target of HSE campaign. Target of safety walkabout. And target of HSE reward. Okay, so we've been able to introduce the target. We fix the target back. We are not tracking motor vehicle incidents, so we can delete this. You're not tracking motor vehicle incident frequency, you can delete this. Factor for motor vehicle, we can delete that. Factor for motor vehicle, there's no KPI for motor vehicle, so we can delete this as well. Working hours. We'll see about that. I can get rid of this. I can get rid of this. Factor for motor vehicle, we don't need that. Cumulative miles travel, we don't need that. Cumulative MVI, we don't need. Incident rates, okay, we'll decide. Okay. All right. Okay, we're gonna fix some of them later on. Okay, so once I do that, take note. I'm trying to fix the report. What's going on? Okay. All right. So once I'm done making entries for the targets, to ensure that the target KPIs are also within the source data table, the actual source data table, so that we can control it with the same slicer and connect it to all the pivot tables so that it can all show on the dashboard. Okay, so I'll go all the way to the report and I'll start to fix them, right? So this is the toolbox talk. After toolbox talk, what's next? Let's see. After toolbox talk, what's next? I want to see that from here. Okay, after toolbox talk, safety observation report. So this is going to be safety observation report. Okay, it doesn't allow for these kind of brackets and things like that, right? This one is going to be HSE training man hours. This one is going to be this one. This one is going to be this. This one is going to be that one. Okay, so I think that we are done with these ones. Oops. This one. This one also. Now it's left with these ones. Okay, I'll just move on to the next sheet. All right, so this emergency drill. This name is. This one is workplace inspection. Okay, it's HS campaign. HSE walkabout. And last but not the least, this very one. Okay, I think that we've brought all the KPIs in there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There are 11, right? Did we miss something? You know, that's the basically how it is. Sometimes you need to quality check and things like that. So we have to make sure that we are not missing anything. Okay. So how many are there in all? There are 11. So how many reports have I created? Let's go back and check. So there is toolbox talk. There's this one. There's HSE training hours, management committee, tier audit. Emergency drill. Okay, I miss emergency drill. Okay, so we're gonna use this for emergency drill. All right, perfect. So we are done with the report, but we're now coming to fix everything. So take note that we didn't tamper with toolbox talk because we wanted to make sure that everything is in there as correct and the formatting doesn't change, because we're gonna make sure that we are sticking to this format. Okay, so I come here and I open the pivot field. I go to the field list, and then I need to now go and pick the target. Now take note that the old target was there. We've changed the target, so I just have to refresh the workbook. So if I refresh the workbook, okay, so they vanished, right? It has vanished. So all the old ones are all gone. So we now come to pick the new ones. So safety observation report, and I select. I make sure I bring it here. It has to be there as sum of. And then I go and pick the actual of safety observation report. So the actual is right there. Now you are comparing target and the actual, right? The actual against the target. So I just copy this, Control C. I come over here. I double click on the outline of the chart. I hit Control V. Now it has corrected, isn't it? We've literally done it. So I'm going to now change the title as SOR, Safety Observation Report. Okay, now take note that it's showing all these decimals. So I can just go in there to the sum. I'll just click on field list. I go to number format. I go to numbers and I get rid of the decimal. So now decimal is not going to show. Okay. All right. So we do the same thing for all the reports basically. This is HSE training man hours. We bring this over here and then it has to be sum of, and then we go up to pick the actual HSE training man hours. There we have it. Okay, so this one we are lucky it's not showing decimal, so we don't have anything to clean. So we just Control C, we come here, we double click on this, Control V. Okay, so the target is what is at the back, and then the actual is what is in front. Okay, actually, we need to make sure it's properly arranged. The target must always be at the top. So the target is, okay, so we need to fix it. We need to Control C, Control V. Yes, that's how it is. The target is at the back, the actual is in front. Okay. We do the same thing for this. Oh, I think I didn't name it, right? HSE training man hours. So it's quite a lot of KPIs. That's even just 11 KPIs is taking a lot of time, isn't it? HSE management walkabout. So this is something that we usually have to allocate time to scrutinize properly so that we don't make any mistakes, and we have to make sure that we are not rushing it as well, because sometimes we want to make sure that we keep the deadline or the timeline reasonable for us, because there could be other workloads, and want to make sure that you're not you're not disappointing anyone. So we want to make sure we are keeping the time reasonable. So HSE walkabout. HSE walkabout. Okay, so with this one also, I'll just Control C, Control V. We are having some decimals in there. They're not really relevant, so just get rid of decimals. Numbers, no decimal. Okay. HSE committee meeting. The target is here. And we need to drag it over here to make sure that it is there as sum of. And then we need to go all the way here and then choose HSE committee, which is the actual. Because we intentionally brought the target in the actual source data. That's how come it's showing in the field list for the actual source data. Okay, so that is it right there. It is showing all these decimals. We don't need that. Okay, we go to, all right, so let's fix this really quick. We go to this. I know it's getting boring because it's so repetitive and all of that. That is basically how it is. Tier 1. Target of Tier 1 audit. We put it in here. We make sure it's sum off. And there are some decimals we don't need, right? So we need to go to number formats. We get rid of the decimals. Okay. Then we go all the way up to Tier 1 actual. So we have the actual in there. Control C, Control V. Tier 1 HSE audits. This one is HSE committee, right? And then emergency drill. Target of emergency drill. We move it here. We change the count to sum, and then we make sure that the formatting of the number, there's no decimal. We hit OK. We go up to select the actual. We make sure there's no decimal in there as well. We just come here, select the formatting of this chart. We double click on the chart here to get it, and then we can paste over it. Okay, so we have the near miss. We have 4 more to go. Wow, that's a lot. Near miss. And then we will go to the near miss over here to the actual. And then we will just copy the formatting here. Control C, Control V. And this is near miss. HSE campaign. Okay, so I know that we may have been kicked out of LinkedIn Live because LinkedIn doesn't allow us to go live for more than 1 hour. So whatever it is. Okay, so in case you missed it, you can probably check it on other platforms like Instagram or something, YouTube or something. HSE campaign, HSE walkabout. All right. Okay, this is the last one. Recognition. HSE recognition. Okay, so basically we are done with making all those entries. We now have to make sure that we correct any other error that we're going to be seeing. So once we populated all the the data for each of the reports, what we need to we notice that the dashboard will start to populate, especially with the target and other ones. Okay, so let's try to fix this one. Now this very one, the pivot tables are all here. So these are all the pivot tables. So we're going to take our time to select each one of them, right, in chronological order. So we're going to have so that we don't miss any of them. So we're going to have the restricted work case here. Then we pick the medical treatment case. Then we pick the first aid case. And then we pick the property damage. Okay, property damage. And then we take the environmental spill. We take the fire incident as well. We take the security risk. And then there is zero violation. There's also regulatory non-compliance. There's fatality, right? So we've literally picked everything. So we go back to the dashboard. We've noticed that they'll start populating, right? So there's one last KPI. I think there are a total of about 10 lagging indicators. The lagging indicators are 10. It's 11. So on the incident dashboard, we have 11, right? 1, 2, 3, 10, 11. Okay. So that means that we need to find something and keep it here. So let's go back and then check the other, charts. So this is the other charts. Okay, so I just want to be careful and see what's happening here, right? So I'll just select a number of KPIs. Probably there's the column chart. Okay, so I'll see. No, there's another chart. Okay, so let's see where is this one coming from. HC4. HC4. All right. So I have to select all the other ones. So this is the bar chart. Oh, it's lagging indicator. It's not leading. Okay, so we go over here and we notice that this one has also started populating. So we reserved this formatting to use Control C, Control V, Control V, Control V, Control V. Okay, so this dashboard is back. The format. So let's see what the formatting was. Okay, the color gradient. We want to see the color gradient. So let me just right click, format data series. This was the color gradient. Okay, so we registered the color gradient in here. So I'll just click this. I'll come here, I'll click on color gradient. It's going to give us the same color gradient, right? I want it like this. So we've been able to fix this one also, except the fact that the KPIs are not exactly the number that we got. So we need to find a way of, probably we shift this one here. We shift all of them so that So that the last one will, now we need to make sure that each of the KPIs is representing the exact thing, right? Because we just selected. So this one is first aid case, huh? So I'll quality check that. I need to do some quality checking to make sure that each of the chart is representing the what we picked there, right? So basically, this is what the dashboard allows us to do. We see that we're able to click to go to whichever time frame that we want. So now we need to fix this one. This one also takes a lot of effort. There's a total of maybe 11 leading indicators, right? 11 leading indicators. That's 11. So how many do we have? We have 5 and 6 and 4, 9. We need some extra ones. So I'll just delete these ones. And then I'll just make sure that there is room to accommodate the rest. After all of this, we need to quality check to make sure that everything is correct. Everything is exactly what we are reporting, okay? So I'll try to drag this all the way down. Okay, so I'll do something. I'm not gonna fix the 5. 11 KPIs. I'm not gonna fix the 5. That's a faster way of doing it. I'm not gonna fix the 5. So I'm making it a relative reference, not an absolute reference, okay? And then okay, so we've been able to fix this. Now we need to make sure that we compare against the target to make sure that we are matching the correct chart. In order to do that, I need to, remove all these unnecessary, space to make sure I can compare and contrast. So in order to correct all of these things, I just have to ungroup the charts. I need to ungroup this. So I'll keep ungrouping to make sure that I can access each and every one of them. So this is one element of it. This is the other element of it, okay? Now, the good thing is that we are not tracking according to these, broad categories. We're only trying to populate all the targets, all the leading indicators here. So we can get rid of this. Let me ungroup first. I can keep ungrouping. Then I have this, delete. And delete all these entries because we don't need them now. Okay, so basically to fix all of this, I just have to make sure that I'm checking one after the other. So there's no toolbox stock, right? It was there as so the 84%. All right, so I'm just gonna cross check. This one is coming from BS4. BS4. Okay, that's this one. And this BS4 is actually this BS is HSE walkabout. HSE management walkabout. So I have to manually type that in the HSE management walkabout, right? So now we are actually trying to, keep the same look of the dashboard and everything, but it's going to take some time. Okay, so we are just cross-checking each of the figures to match it with the correct KPI, right? And the score. So the targets and actual are all the same. Okay, so this is something that is going to take some time. So I'll just do that later on. I think that we spent a lot of time already. But the good thing is that we've been able to bring back the HSE statistics. We've corrected the HSE monthly report. We've done the, all of this. We can hide the rest because we've literally done everything except the fact that total recordable incident rate, we deleted it. We deleted the total recordable case. I may probably find out from the person if you want to have that in there, because once you have, LTI, fatality, LTI, restricted work case, and medical treatment, then total recordable case is relevant. I should have considered that. I thought I totally forgot, so I deleted it. So let's try to hide this. So basically, that's what we have done for the user. We've also reduced it to how he wanted it, and we need to now make a decision whether you're going to keep this or not, because the incident rate is probably important. So that's what we can actually use to fill this section of the dashboard, right? We can do that later on. So in order to keep this very, very short, I think that we've done a lot. We've been able to progress significantly on exactly what we are supposed to be doing. Now take note that building the structure and then, having everything to function is just one important step. I mean, it's very, very important. That's actually the most important thing. The dashboard look and color is just aesthetics. It's basically when we have time to try and, test different looks of colors and things, and then we then agree on what really is nice for someone to, patronize or appreciate or something. Okay, so this brings our life to an end. We done a lot, but it's a lot of work that we did. It's a lot of work actually. So that's why it is not a joke to do customization. I'll just remove this from the screen. It is not a joke to do customization. It takes a lot of effort. And today, I think you guys have seen, so sometimes you have about, 20 KPIs. Someone wants everything changed. And we try our best to, follow their requirements and everything. So this type of customization takes about two days to complete, because we have other things that we're doing. And also, sorry, this took very long, but we tried to do this live customization. Next time, I'll probably try to keep it within maybe 1 hour or even lesser than that. And these are, new periods for me. I'm trying these things for the first time and all of that. So sometimes you guys may have to forgive me for going too far or probably not keeping within time and all of that. So thank you all for your attention and your support. And then we're gonna see you again in another meeting, right? Or see you again tomorrow. Okay, bye for now. Cheers.